So, what actually happens when a country starts to run out of people? Today, we're diving into a quiet crisis unfolding in Japan, one that has huge implications for the rest of the world. We're talking about the demographic cliff. And to really wrap our heads around this, we're not going to start with a bunch of boring charts and numbers. Nope. We're starting with a story. A really strange and deeply human story. Just try to picture that for a second. A town where you never hear children playing, where the local school is silent, and the playground swings just sit there, empty. This isn't science fiction. In some parts of rural Japan, this is really happening. The few elderly residents who are left have started making these life-size dolls just to fill the empty spaces. They put them in old houses, on park benches, even in classrooms, to cope with the profound loneliness, to fill a void left by an entire generation that's just gone. It's a haunting, physical symbol of what it means to lose a population. Now, what's driving this incredibly heartbreaking story? Well, it all comes down to one single devastating number. Let's look at the hard data behind these dolls. This is it, 1.2. And believe me, this isn't just some random statistic on a page. This number, it's the engine powering this entire crisis. It's Japan's current birth rate. So what does 1.2 even mean? Well, to put it simply, for a country to just maintain its population, not grow, just stay stable, it needs a birth rate of about 2.1 children per woman. Japan, as you can see, is nowhere near that. That gap between 1.2 and 2.1, that's the whole problem in a nutshell. And when that gap gets too wide for too long, you hit something called the demographic cliff. Think of it like a point of no return. It's where a shrinking population starts a domino effect of massive economic and social problems that are incredibly hard to stop. Right, so the big question is, how did Japan even get here? Why are birth rates so incredibly low? Well, the answer seems to lie in what has become a truly impossible choice for millions of young people. And a huge piece of this puzzle starts with a word that honestly shouldn't even exist, karoshi. It literally means death from overwork. It's a term for a work culture that is so intense, so all-consuming, that it can literally kill you. It's really this vicious cycle of pressure. It kicks off with that extreme work culture that expects your total commitment. But here's the kicker. At the same time, wages have basically stayed flat for decades, so all those long hours aren't even paying off. Then you throw in the sky-high cost of childcare, and what you're left with is an impossible choice for young people. Do I build a career or do I start a family? Because trying to do both just seems completely out of reach. So when you put it all together, you have this perfect storm, right? An absolutely relentless work culture, wages that don't come close to rewarding that sacrifice, and the huge financial wall of just trying to raise a kid. It's a recipe for a collapsing birth rate. But here's the thing. This is the part where the story stops being just about Japan, because the forces that are at play over there, well, they're starting to echo all across the developed world. We might not just be talking about Japan's future, we might be talking about our own. And this might be the single most important takeaway from all of this. Japan isn't some strange exception we can just observe from a distance. You should think of it more like a preview, a glimpse of a future that a lot of other countries are already heading toward. And you can see this trend playing out globally. Yeah, Japan is on the extreme end with 1.2, but the fact is, countries like South Korea, Italy, Germany, Spain, they're all way below that critical 2.1 replacement level already. The pattern is clear, even if the numbers vary a little. So this all leads to a really uncomfortable question, one that every developed nation probably needs to start asking itself. Are we all just slowly walking towards the exact same cliff? And let's be clear, the consequences of falling off that cliff, they are severe. We're talking about a shrinking workforce, which means the economy grinds to a halt. It means an unbearable strain on things like healthcare and pensions because you have fewer young workers trying to support a much, much larger elderly population. And in the most extreme cases, you're looking at the risk of serious societal breakdown. Because at the end of the day, all of this, it boils down to one simple, undeniable truth. A country's economy, its culture, its innovation, the whole shebang, it's all built on its single most valuable resource, its people. And so that's the final sobering question I want to leave you with. Whether we're talking about Japan or any other nation on this same path, what happens when you just start to run out?